Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanishalaakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Nitinamine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet. In this session we will be discussing from two verses which are given together, 25 and 26 of the 15th chapter of the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Jalaukasam jale yadvan mahanto adanti aniyasaha durbalan balino rajan mahanto balino mithaha evam balishtair yadubhir mahadbhir itaran vibhuhu yadun yadubhir anyonyam bhubharan sanjaharaha. The meaning of these two verses is given as follows. O king, as in the ocean the bigger and stronger aquatics swallow up the smaller and weaker ones, so also the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to lighten the burden of the earth, has engaged the stronger Yadu to kill the weaker and the bigger Yadu to kill the smaller. So Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport, what does this mean? Srila Prabhupada says in the purport, in the material world, the struggle for existence and survival of the fittest are laws, because in the material world there is disparity between conditioned souls due to everyone's desire to lord it over the material resources. This is a very, very important point we have to understand. This material world is a place for all those souls who belong to God, who belong to the spiritual world, but are forgetful of Krishna due to their desire to independently enjoy and their desire to lord over material nature. Two very, very specific desires are the cause of our material existence. What are those two desires? The desire to independently enjoy, independent of Krishna. Because in the spiritual world, everyone is blissfully happy in association with Krishna. But if anybody wants independent enjoyment, it is not possible in the spiritual world. Then the Lord has created this material world, and in the material world, under illusion, one may think I am independent, though we can never be actually independent because we are very, very tiny spirit souls. We cannot be independent. We cannot be independent. But we may get the feeling that I am independent under illusion, and that's why the illusory energy is working to cover the real knowledge of who we are, the reality of Krishna being the maintainer, Krishna being the protector. The illusory energy is covering our vision of the reality. And under illusion, I am thinking I am independent. Each person is thinking like that. And also, not only that we desire independent enjoyment, we also desire to lord over material nature. And not only I desire, everyone desires like that. So, therefore there is disparity. How can each one think, I want to be the Lord? There can only be one Lord. There cannot be many Lords. So, therefore, the reality is that under illusion somebody thinks I am the boss, I am the Lord, I am the master. I am the enjoyer, under illusion only. And that is created, that illusion is created because of which there appear to be laws which are like struggle for existence and survival of the fittest. So Prabhupada further explains, this very mentality of lording it over material nature is a root cause of conditioned life. What is the meaning of conditioned life? Conditioned life means we are subject to the conditions of material nature, which are conditions produced by interaction of the three gunas, the three modes of material nature. They are always interacting and producing different circumstances, conditions, situations. Sattvam rajastama iti guna prakriti sambhavaha. This is explained in the 14th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Material nature not only consists of 8 elements, it also consists of 3 gunas. This is a secret that is revealed in the Bhagavad Gita by Lord Krishna. Generally, people know that material matter or material energy or material nature means the 5 elements or the 8 elements. 5 gross elements, earth, water, fire, air, sky, and 3 subtle elements, mind, intelligence, ego. But they do not know material nature consists of 3 gunas, sattva guna, rajo guna, tamo guna. And these 3 gunas are always interacting with each other, producing different conditions. And under those conditions, everyone is living. All those who are under the laws of nature, they are subject to the conditions imposed upon them by the 3 gunas interacting and producing so many changes. Continuously, material nature is imposing different conditions. Adhibhutam ksharo bhavaha. This is also explained in the 8th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. This material nature is constantly changing in a state of flux. Always, as long as material nature is active, as long as this created world is maintained, constantly in a state of flux. So therefore, we are all subject to these conditions as long as we don't surrender to Krishna, as long as we don't take to devotional service, as long as we don't prepare ourselves to go back to Godhead, we are subject to these conditions. So that situation under which everyone is forced by material nature is called conditioned life. To give facility to such imitation lords, the illusory energy of the Lord has created a disparity between conditioned living beings by creating the stronger and the weaker in every species of life. If you carefully observe, every species, there are many living entities of that particular species. Among them, there are stronger and weaker. That is because the mentality of lording it over others always exists in conditioned souls. So Srila Prabhupada further explains, the mentality of lording it over material nature and the creation has naturally created a disparity. To facilitate the living entities lording over, there are laws of karma working, and there is naturally a disparity. Some are stronger, some are weaker in each species. And therefore, there is the law of struggle for existence. Now, Srila Prabhupada contrasts this with the spiritual world. He says, in the spiritual world, there is no such struggle for existence, conspicuous by its absence in the spiritual world, this law of struggle for existence. There is no struggle in the spiritual world at all. Nobody has to work, nobody has to earn his livelihood. No. Everything is completely, perfectly provided by Yogamaya, Krishna's arrangement. Everybody is blissful, everybody is happy, there is no old age, there is no disease, there is no death, there is no scarcity, there is no creation or destruction. There are no modes of material nature. There is no influence of devastating Kala. Kala, the destroyer. Time, I am the destroyer. Krishna says in the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, in this material world. That destroying time, destructive time is absent in the spiritual world. So there is spiritual time, but it is not destructive. So in the spiritual world, there is no struggle for existence because everyone there exists eternally. There is no disparity because everyone wants to render service to the Supreme Lord. In this material world, I want to be the boss and I want others to serve me. I don't want to serve anybody because I want to be the boss, I want to be the Lord. And the opposite of this is the spiritual world. What is the spiritual world like? Everyone wants to serve Krishna because everyone is a devotee of Krishna there, pure devotee. And Krishna is simply sitting and receiving all service. I am the Lord. No. Krishna wants to please his devotees. Krishna wants to serve his devotees in reciprocation. What a wonderful atmosphere, isn't it? So this information we get from the Srimad Bhagavatam. From the confidential devotional literatures we get this confidential knowledge. We all belong to that spiritual world. In that spiritual world there is no disparity, there is no struggle for existence, there is no death, there is no disease, there is no old age, there are no modes of material nature, there is no destructive influence of time. Krishna is inviting, please come to that world of mine. Tadhama paramam mama mame vaishyasi. If you follow bhakti yoga, you will come to meet in my abode, spiritual abode. The Lord, being the creator of everything, including the living beings, factually is the proprietor and enjoyer of everything that be. If he has created, he is the proprietor. And he has created it in a particular way, it's for his enjoyment. But his enjoyment doesn't mean, in his scheme of things, he is the only enjoyer. No, he wants to share that enjoyment with each one of us. Even though we are very tiny and the Lord is unlimited Lord, so obviously when he wants to enjoy, there is unlimited enjoyment available. Now Krishna shares that unlimited enjoyment or pleasure with his part and parcel living being, each and every living being. So in our devotional service interaction with Krishna, Krishna shares unlimited love, unlimited pleasure, unlimited bliss, unlimited everything with a tiny living entity who can only enjoy in a limited way. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, when we chant Hare Krishna, we get the experience of being immersed in an ocean of bliss. And what kind of ocean? He says, Anandambudhi Vardhanam. It's an ever increasing ocean of bliss. Because even the material world, we have experience of ocean, but it is always limited. Even though there's a huge quantity of salt water in the ocean, but still it is limited. In the spiritual world, the ocean of bliss is ever increasing. There is plenty of bliss, but that is also ever increasing. It's not limited. That's the nature of the spiritual world. So Krishna is inviting us, come to that world. Don't remain here and be always engaged in struggle for existence. Get out of this place and come to me. That's Krishna's message. I'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.